icon can be defined in the Collins Dictionary as a famous person or a thing that represents something of importance. Harry Redknapp does both in all walks of life and is rightly an English icon. Harry, we've been looking forward to catching up with you. Before we turn to football matters, what have you been up to recently?
Oh, I've been so busy, Pete. It's been crazy. You know, this week I did Monday night. I recorded a show with Mo Gilligan, who's a fantastic comedian. He's got a great show on TV, and I was on his show. Every day I see, I've been doing a theatre tour. I've just finished. I think we did 60 theatres all together, all over the country. Did like a chat show where I go on stage with a comedian called Noel Brody, who's been great. He's a big football man, and we get 2 chairs, 2 stools. We do 45 minutes, then we have a 15-minute break, then another 45 minutes, and all football chat and jungle and God knows what. And, you know, we have some videos as well. So it's been good fun. I've enjoyed that. But I'm making another show with Jamie at the moment, my son, with Jack Whitehall, where we've got to get 11 World Cup legends to have a picture with us. It's a challenge between Jack and Jamie. Jack says Jamie couldn't manage to do this in 11 days. And so he dragged me into it to help him. And that's what we're doing. So that's great fun as well. We're meeting last week. We were over meeting Pirlo in Italy. We met Roberto Carlos in Madrid, the great Brazilian left back who lives in Madrid now. So yeah, all kinds of superstars, and it's been good fun. It's great how Dad has to come in and help out, though, wasn't it? Brilliant, love it. Yeah. Dad, I need some help. You know, it was all part of it. Yeah, so we've had some real good fun doing it. Listen, you've mentioned not just the football, but loved in football, but loved in TV as well. And I saw with interest, even in Dubai, because we get it. Last summer, saw you in EastEnders. Any plans for a return to Albert Square? Maybe your own market patch? No, I think I'd like to take over the pub. Actually, I could do that behind the bar there, serving the drinks. But no, it was good fun. I enjoyed it, you know, and. My wife watches it. She watches it all the time. She loves EastEnders, Coronation Street, Neighbour. She watches them all. But she enjoyed it. So, yeah, it was great to be in it for, you know, just a short cameo part. But it was good fun, Peter. It was great. Good stuff. Listen, on to football. Possibly the most qualified ex-Spurs gaffer to be able to comment. There's a serious optimism around Spurs that Spurs and Conte can mount a title charge. Do you share that? I certainly think they're going to be strong next year. I mean, I'm not sitting here saying they can finish above Man City and Liverpool, but I expect them to close the gap next year quite considerably. And I think, for me, I can't see them finishing out the top 3. I think they probably will finish 3rd this year. But, you know, they're making some good signings. They're looking in the market to bring 1 or 2 more in. I think they've got, you know, when you've got Kane and Son up front, you've always got a chance. I mean, what a front pairing that is. So I think Spurs are in for a big season, and certainly a top 3 finish this year. You know, depends who Chelsea bring in. They're the only danger to them, I think, for a top 3. It would be, you know, the same 4 as last year, I think. You know, Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea, Tottenham. But I think Tottenham are the team at the moment. Look with the team with a big improvement in them, and Conte and the signings that they're making. I think they could be very strong this year. Exciting. Aside from the Premier League, we've also got a World Cup. The England job's a tough gig. I think Gareth's caught in some criticism recently when he split in the pack. Do you think, Harry, does he have to deliver the World Cup this winter? And do you believe he knows who his best team is to do so? I'm not sure he knows his best team or his best system at the moment. We go from 3 at the back to playing with back 4. It seems to change great on, you know, I know people say, well, he's experimenting so he can play it. But I would like to see us get a system that he believes in, get the players in, stick with that team, work with that team, play that team, stop giving people caps because it's a nice thing to do. Get your team, you know who's good enough and who's not, and play them and get them like a club team. It takes you 4, 5, 6, 7 pre-season games to get yourself up and running, to get your best 11, get them organised, to know who can play and feel comfortable playing, get the understanding that you need to be successful. I'd like to see him, you know, I think we've messed around too much with the team, and we're coming into the World Cup now on the back of a disastrous run of games recently. So it's not. I still think we've got a fantastic group of players. Whether he, you know, I think he's. I personally, I think it's with this group of players now. I think we really need to have a real go at winning the World Cup. I don't think we're going to get too many better opportunities.
Yeah, totally agree. Listen, transfer windows in full go. It's mad as always. My team involved in it as well, of course. Now Newcastle. I've got to ask you though, as someone who's been involved in it and probably given us some great moments, give us the biggest player that you nearly signed, Harry. Or the best transfer window story, but a player that you were close to but didn't quite get.
Yeah, probably at the time I tried to get Eden Hazard. Joe Cole rang me. Joe was playing at Lille, and he rang me, "Sorry, I'm playing with a boy. He's the best player I've ever played with." I said, "Well, that's a bit of a statement, Joe. You know, he played at West Ham and he'd gone to Chelsea with that great Chelsea team that had won the title and everything." And he said, "He's unbelievable." It was Eden Hazard, and I went over to watch him. Loved him, went back. I went 3 times actually, in quick, not to watch him, 10 minutes of watching him. I saw enough. But I was trying to get a meet with him, really. Totally illegal, Pete. You're not really supposed to be meeting people that are under contract for football clubs. But, you know, that is how the game works.
Yeah.
And so I made a meet with him. I actually met him in Paris and in a hotel room. Had a good chat with him. He was keen to come, but at that particular time, Tottenham weren't looking to pay. You know, I think we were talking around the 20 million mark. And I think we probably went in with an offer much less than that. And really I didn't feel that the appetite was there from the owners to really spend that type of money. So I was sorry to lose him, because when he was at Chelsea, he really was an amazing talent. He had a few great years there. And I think he could have made the difference to the Tottenham team that I had at that time.
As a boss, Harry, do you look at players, obviously the one that got away, and think, you know, when you watch him and think, you know what, he would have really looked good in my side?
Yeah, no, he would have. And we ended up having to take a couple of free transfers that year when we were going well, you know. And I took Louis Saha, who's been a great player, you know, in Man United, Everton, but he, you know, was coming to the end of his career. And I took Ryan Nelson, who was a great centre half in my opinion when he was at Blackburn, and you know I took he was a free agent, but yeah, then Eden Hazard would have made a big difference to us, but yeah, it wasn't to be. But he's certainly one that would jump out as one I would love to have got in at that time.
I mentioned my club, Newcastle. It's well documented that you had an opportunity to manage the tune. The playing scenario was one of the reasons given for it not feeling right for you. Was there any others? Because let's be honest, at that time, that job looked like a poisoned chalice, didn't it, to many?
Yeah, it did. Yeah, it was a difficult job, and I nearly took it. And then, you know, things were going well for me at Portsmouth at the time as well, and so I really decided it was a big league. The two teams, we had a better team actually at that time at Portsmouth than Newcastle had, but not because you support them, but of all the clubs I've ever been to, I think Newcastle is a fantastic football club. You know, the people there, they live for their club, the Geordies, you know, 50-odd thousand people in their black and white shirts every Saturday. You know, and it's a regret that I didn't give that one a go, to be fair, looking back on it. But, I mean, I used to go there in the Keegan days managing, and, you know, and you had Andy Cole, you had Ginola, you had Les Ferdinand, just an incredible group of team. That was an amazing team at that time. So, I wish I'd have gone. But Eddie's my neighbour, actually, Eddie Howe. Eddie lives 100 yards from me. And I think they took a good man. He's doing a good job. He started great this year. He's won the fans over. So I think if they invest, as I'm sure they will, you know, the next few years could be really exciting again to be a Newcastle fan.
There's been a lot of talk, Harry, about from media angles that Newcastle have got all of this money. They continue to confound the media, though, because they've spent wisely. And again, so far, I was just looking at that new back four. You know, you've got Pope in there. You look like we've got Botman. You've got Big Dan Burn in there. And, you know, the whole that's a new defence for the princely sum of 80 million, which in today's market is pretty impressive.
No, Eddie won't go out and just spend big money. You know, he's been brought up at Bournemouth, where every penny, you know, was had to be well spent, and that's how he works. He's not just going to go in and willy-nilly buy players. You know, Trippier was a good signing. You know, an England international, knows the job, fantastic professional. It's just the type you want round your football club. I thought Dan Burn was a great signing. You know, the more I saw of him, I used to watch him in his early days. I thought, well, you know, he was like Bambi on ice, and then suddenly he's gone from, moved around a bit, end up at Wigan, had a great year at Wigan, player of the year. Then he moved again. Then he went to, obviously moved to Brighton, where he just seemed to get better and stronger and improved his game. I think he's an outstanding centre half. I really do. And I thought that was a great signing for Newcastle. So, yeah, they're taking shape. They bought another keeper in, but the keeper they had last year, he did what I saw. I didn't see as much of him as lots of people, but he didn't look, you know, the worst goalkeeper in the world to me. So they look very strong in the goalkeeping department as well now. So, yeah, Eddie will gradually put a jigsaw together that will produce a real good team that I think can be pushing eventually. You know, we'll be pushing the next year or two at the top 6 place, I think.
As a manager, Harry, and you've probably had to do it yourself, will Eddie be wary of the excitement that's building? You know, the city it's bouncing again. Do you have to put some sort of lid on it before and say, look, guys, you know, it's a steady build? Because, I mean, there's people saying, you know, that they could be challenging for Europe straight off. And why can't they break into the top 4?
No, he'll know. Eddie is a steady Eddie. He's steady. He won't die. He's got his feet are firmly on the ground. And all funny, all the lads who work with him all live within 100 yards of me. Jason Tyndall's up the road. You know, Stephen Purchase is down here. All his staff are all sort of local here still. I'm sure they're all going to have to move up because it's a difficult one. I do think if you're going to be managing Newcastle, you know, they're not going to be happy if you're flying up or travelling up. And they really, I think, going to want you to be in and be around the club, you know, if you're going to be a part of it. So that's a big move he's got to make, but I'm sure it's one worth making to go up there, and he's going to live up there and be part of the city and part of the team, which I'm sure he understands. And no, I think Eddie's he won't get carried away at the moment. He knows, you know, it's going to take years, not a year, but to gradually get into where they want to be. But I do think the future looks fantastic for the club.
Very exciting. That obviously it's caught a controversy. Yeah. Something that I've said. I was on TalkSport last week and I was asked about my feelings, and I said, look, if Eddie Howe and Boris Johnson don't have to answer it, I'm sure I don't. I just comment on the football, and I think that for any supporter who was put in that position would take that. So, listen,
sure.
I wanted to ask you because
I did the same prediction the other day. Someone talked to me about the Live Tour, you know, the golf. I said, listen, I'm not an expert, you know. Very difficult. Someone comes along and offers you 40, 50 million pounds to go and join it, and you're not winning much on the other tour now because you're getting older or whatever. It's very difficult. You know, if you don't take it, somebody else takes it. I mean, you know, you could look at every country, you know, how many countries can you look at where we've had atrocities over the years? You know, look at Rwanda. We're sending the immigrant, you know, the asylum seekers to Rwanda a few years ago. It was like an area where it was, you know, what was going on there was no one's business. So these things happen, and, you know, I think we've got to move on now, and hopefully Saudi is going to be a country that is, you know, with things in the past, and you know, they're doing good things for Newcastle and the Geordie fans and Newcastle fans. In all honesty, whoever gives them a winning team, that is how football is. You know, we've got Russian owners, we've got America, we've got owners from all over the world. So I'm like you. I really want to concentrate on the football, and I think the future for Newcastle, it's a great club that deserves success, and I think they're going to get it now.
Well said. Listen, a lot of talk about having. The TV are talking about possibly bringing back the favourites for the jungle, something that is absolutely fantastic. So, of course, my girls and the creative team said, yes, you can talk about football, you can ask Harry anything, but you've got to ask him this one question. So I said, yeah, but it's got to have football involved. So here's our jungle question for you. Let's say, for instance, Harry, that you're invited to go back into the jungle, but you've got to take one of your former players with you as support. Who's your choice?
Oh, my God. Well, Razor's been in there, Razor. I don't think so he can't go again. Ian Wright's been in there, so I wouldn't be able to take Righty again. For a bit of fun and excitement, I'd probably take Paolo Di Canio. You know, he would really he'd be fun. He would be good value, I promise you. He was a genius, flamboyant genius, but what a character.
So many great stories about him, and of course, I watched him destroy Newcastle in a Northeast derby. Came to, you know, no management experience. Came to St James's Park, 3-0.
When he slid on the floor with his beautiful Italian suit on his knees, yeah.
Brilliant stuff. Listen, lastly, as the new season is just upon us, as predicted by us here at Hollywood Balls, we see City champions, Chelsea runners-up, Liverpool third, and Arsenal or Spurs fourth. So we're going to say, Harry, do you fancy a wager with us on that lineup?
Yeah, for sure. No, I see Man City favourites. I think they'll win it. I see Liverpool second, and for sure I see Tottenham third. I think Tottenham are going to be strong this year, and then Chelsea. I don't see Arsenal really at the moment.
And Man United a rebuild.
Chelsea depends who they bring in, but Tottenham, I just think Tottenham have made a couple of good signings. They're going to make more signings. And when you've got Son and Kane up front together, I mean, what a partnership. Incredible. So I think Tottenham, Conte now, another year under his belt, I think they're going to be the team that will get closest to Liverpool and Man City this year.
Okay, great stuff. Harry, there's one last thing. I was speaking with Robbie Elliott in Newcastle United, former left-back, and we were chatting about looking at about bringing in a new Newcastle Legends team. So if you never got the chance to manage Newcastle as full-time, what about you come and manage the new Newcastle Legends team with Robbie Elliott and Laurent Robert in the side?
Oh, I mean, that would be good fun, yeah. Listen, they'll have enough. I think they should get Kevin back for that. Keegan was a legend there, wasn't he, really? What he did there, that team, that was an amazing team to play against and to what they were starting, you know? And it was great. It was great watching them. And I think Kevin would be the man to manage that team. He'd let them play. He'd let them play.